What is it?
It's a fort.
Okay.
I will explain.
That one in the distance there?
Yeah, that one over there is an island fort. It's a Fort Manuel Island.
So gorgeous. The water is beautiful.
Oh yes.
Smile. Hi.
Hey there, fellow wanderers. I hope you're all doing well. If you're new to my channel, welcome. And if you've been here before, I'm sending you a big virtual hug to welcome you back. I'm Becky, the slow traveling wanderer, and this is another installment of my sub-series Storytime, where I'm giving you, the viewer, a tour around Mexico based on several years of travel experiences, and will share personal and sometimes crazy stories of my own, and I have a lot that only really happen in Mexico. These experiences combined have convinced me to move to and live in Mexico permanently. And that's what this channel is all about, living in Mexico. The theme today is somewhat a continuation of the previous Oaxaca episode and how a chance encounter during a cooking class in Oaxaca with this Maltese couple you see here, how that led me to travel to Malta, a country that I would have never had on my list to visit. And I'll also tell you about a unique connection between Malta and Mexico that neither my Maltese friend nor I knew about until we were both in Malta together. All right, are you ready? Let's get into it. So the first question I had when I met the Maltese couple was, I'm sorry, but where is Malta exactly? Although I may have lived up to the reputation Americans have abroad of being terrible at geography, I'm actually pretty good, but I just couldn't place this particular country. So here it is. The country is made up of a couple of tiny islands right in the Mediterranean between Tunisia and Italy. And as you can see here from this Google Maps screenshot, it's so tiny that the Google Maps marker obscures the amount of land on the island. It's that small. Making this video, I just was doing a little bit of research to make sure I got my facts straight here, and I learned that it's actually the 10th smallest country in the world by land area. So there you have it. Now, everyone is proud of their country, and it's natural, and they should be. So to honor them, I want to tell you a little bit about their country and just give you a touch of their history so you can get to know Malta. It was ruled by the British for 150 years, and therefore all of its official signage is in Maltese and also in English. You can also see that they have these typical red London phone booths dotted about the city, especially in the city of Valletta, which is the capital. Now, despite being a small country, Malta boasts 3 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, including 7 megalithic temples, which are some of the oldest freestanding structures in the world. And Malta has been continuously inhabited going back to 5200 BC, which gives it one of the oldest continuous histories in Europe. So it's quite an impressive little country for sure. I definitely enjoyed getting to know it. When I arrived around lunchtime, and it was early March. And my friend picked me up at the airport. Her car, interestingly enough, had the passenger side on the left, opposite the American side, like the British. And I was like, wait, what the heck? It totally threw me off. And that's when she explained the British connection. I had no idea that it used to be a British colony, so it made sense. Okay. So we went straight to this gorgeous restaurant, which is the one that you saw in the opening clip. It's right off of the sea. You know, all of the restaurants that they took me to were right off of the Mediterranean. It was gorgeous. And you can see this plate of fresh seafood. Just the seafood is so abundant there, and it's super fresh. And wow. And of course, you know, we had some welcome wine. Wink, wink. She dropped me off at the hotel, and for the next couple of days she was working, I wandered about the city, as I like to do. The first thing that you'll notice is that all of the buildings are this gorgeous cream color. And my friend and her now husband are actually both architects. So it was perfect so they could explain exactly why that was. So they mentioned that the islands have an abundance of limestone. So that's essentially the main building material used for all of their construction. And what it does is it creates this really homogeneous, consistent type of building, right, across the islands that I've never seen in any other city I've been to. And at night, when the sun sets and the lights are just coming on, it just gives this city a gorgeous, breathtaking golden glow, or a hue, if you will, all around you. So as you're walking the streets, everything is like this soft gold, this soft yellow. It's beautiful. It's almost like a dreamlike. It's almost like you're in a dream. It really is stunning. Oh, and let's talk about those balconies. I fell in love with them. They're so unique. I've never seen this style of balcony anywhere else in the world. So again, and they're very colorful. So again, these, very unique visuals that you get when you're in Malta. All right, so as I walked about, I went to see the Grand Harbor at my friend's suggestion. And here's an interesting fact for any of you that are history buffs like I am. During World War II, Malta was seen as a very strategic location, given where it is in the Mediterranean, and given that it's next to Italy, and Italy was allied with Nazi Germany. It resulted in this horrific bombing campaign. So the Luftwaffe, which is the German Air Force, or was the German Air Force, and the Regia Aeronautica, which is the Italian Royal Air Force, essentially teamed up and flew a total of 3,000 bombing raids, dropping 6,700 tons of bombs on the Grand Harbor area, the area that you see here in this picture, just in this area alone. So these tiny islands endured 154 days of non-stop bombing. Every single day, the islands were bombed. The city of Valletta, where most of my pictures were taken, was completely destroyed, including the harbor, the same harbor that you see in these pictures, and there were many civilian casualties. And yet, Malta didn't surrender. And they're mighty proud of that, as they should be. To me, it was a crazy story, especially when you're there physically and you see how small of a place it is. You imagine yourself being there and just seeing bombs drop every single day for basically 6 months straight almost. It's nuts. So, are you ready to learn about the connection between Mexico and Malta? So here it is. It's the nopal, or the Mexican cactus, and the prickly pear, or tuna, in Mexico. So my mother loved, and I mean loved, tunas. I remember she would buy them in bulk. At one point, I had researched this fruit and found that it was indigenous to Mexico, as are almost all cacti actually, and definitely the agave plant as well. So as we're going around and seeing Malta, I see all of these nopales and tunas growing out of them, and agave plants all over Malta. And I couldn't understand how this was possible outside of Mexico. So I asked my friend about it, and she told me that it's their country fruit, basically. And I was like, wait, what? So they make soap, they make liqueur, they make all other types of things out of prickly pear. And here you see a picture of the prickly pear liqueur. And when I told her that this was actually these were plants that were native to Mexico, and we both said, huh? Then how did they get here? So we began researching when I was there, and it turns out that the Spanish brought it there. And since Malta has very similar climate to the other parts of Mexico, where the cacti and the prickly pear grow, like a Mediterranean semi-arid climate, these things grew like wildfire on the island. And there you have it. That's the unique connection between Mexico and Malta. And Malta took the prickly pear so much so, making it part of their culture, if you will, their country, that it's actually, their country fruit, and they make all of these different products out of it. Something that Mexico doesn't even do, which I found very, very interesting and ironic in a way, right? So the rest of the trip was wonderful. She and her husband went out of their way to show me literally almost the entire 2 islands. We ate fresh fish that you literally pick out when you walk into the restaurant, caught that day. We went on a boat ride. We, passed by this large man-made village, which is where the movie Popeye was filmed. We had more wine. We went to the beach, although it was still somewhat cold because it was March, and it gets a little chilly. And then we ferried the car over from the main island to Gozo. And Gozo is where they had their weekend home. And we walked through this gorgeous, super ornate street you see here. Stayed with them. I stayed with them in their weekend home, which was built in the mid 1800s. It was kind of cool. It was like sleeping in an old castle. We had another gorgeous meal sitting right off of the Mediterranean, and of course more wine. And as we wrapped it up and I headed back to Hamburg, which is where I was living at the time, we promised to one day meet again in Mexico. They love Mexico and can't wait to go back. However, with COVID and the fact that they just recently had a baby, it'll probably be a while before, you know, they head back. However, when they do, I told them, just let me know where you are and I will meet you there in a minute. They are really two of the most amazing, generous, genuine, and beautiful people that I have ever met. All right, amigos, we will leave it here for today. Thanks again for your time. I hope that you enjoyed this story time, and if you did, please give it a like and subscribe. Hasta la próxima. See you next time. Bye.